So I believe everything happens for a reason. I moved into a town that was totally controlled by devil worshippers. I didn't realize it when I moved there, but I was having anxiety attacks. I just kept feeling all of my alarms were going off. Well, the more I got into it, the more I got into church, and the more I got out into the community, I began to see it. I began to see all these people, and their eyes were dark, like their souls were sold. And they would glare at me, and I didn't know why I was seeing all this stuff. But anyways, I decided I was going to go volunteer at the rescue mission. I was going to help the homeless because I've always had a heart to help. I was raised to be a helper. So I went down there, and as I was down there and I was watching the things that were going on down there, and the homeless were, there were a lot of people that were going to mental health from there. And I noticed one thing. There was a guy that would go to mental health. He would come back and he would just literally go crazy. He was high on something out of it, and I kept thinking, every time he would go down there, I thought, they're overdosing him on something. That man's going to die. I mean, why are they doing that? Well, it wasn't long after that, but yeah, they found him dead. Well, he was getting his medicine from mental health. And yeah, I know there's a price for this video, but I really don't care, right? So, one of my favorite workers down there was I ended up being the assistant manager of the thrift store at the rescue mission. And he was a sweetheart. He would do like anything that I asked him. He was a really kind-hearted person. He ends up going to the hospital. So I'm like, he went to the hospital. 2 days later, he dies. I find out he's dead. And I'm like, he died? He wasn't even that sick. How could he have died? So I started watching, and I had all these feelings about things that were going on down there. And then I would see like the people running the mission were, taking all the good stuff and all the good food donated went home to their family. And I know I'm going to be in trouble for this. I don't care. So anyways, they're taking all the good stuff. There were beautiful antiques. People would donate their whole household to this rescue mission for the poor, right? Well, they would have an auction. This is what I was told. They were having auctions. Well, guess where the money was going? It wasn't going to feed the poor. So I'm watching all this, and I'm discovering all this, and then I discovered that a lot of the business owners really were devil worshippers because I ended up being on the task force. My pastor discovered that I could tell certain things. I could always pick up on stuff with people, and I would recognize witches because I grew up around spiritual stuff, and I just had a discernment about stuff like that. So they used me on the task force, and they would use me to verify people that were witches because there was so much occult activity going on in that town that they put a task force together. Well, there was an officer that came from the Midwest, and he was going to come over and make a name for himself. They hired him to go and investigate the hospital there. And some of you that know me know the town I'm talking about, so don't tell anybody. Anyways, the guy comes over, and he goes to the hospital, and he says, I'm a Satanist, and I heard that you have a group here, and I want to be a part of your group. I mean, he was going to make a name for himself. They're like, we don't know what you're talking about. They brushed it off, and they acted like there was nothing going on there. Later on that night, someone showed up in a big fancy car at the motel room that he was staying to pick him up. So he goes in this car, jumps in this car, and they're going to a cemetery in the area, and the guy got so afraid that he flung the door open, jumped out of the car, got the first flight out of that town back to where he came from, and then he calls the police department, tells them what happened. Okay, so in that area there were a lot of deaths, a lot of ritual things going on, and animals being slaughtered, Matter of fact, there was a daycare center in that town, and they were doing ritual stuff in the daycare center. And I really thank God that God protected me from that, because I almost sent my son there. Sounded really nice. They had farm animals. It was a farm setting. But it turned out that they were doing ritual stuff, and they were doing sick stuff to the children. I know that personally because I had friends that had children that were in that daycare center, and when those people got busted, they were going to court. So I knew all the details. So as I'm seeing all these things, I'm seeing all this town that's totally controlled by this dark band of, I don't know what they call themselves, devil worshippers, Satanists. They were actually having meetings in churches in the evenings. Some of them were actually deacons in the church. Kind of answer some of your questions about some thoughts you may have had over the years. But anyways, so we have a meeting at this rescue mission, and I go to the manager, and I said to him, I was mad. I said, you know what, I've always donated to this rescue mission. It's a Christian organization, and I gave money, I donated things because I wanted to help the poor. And I said, I want to know why you have devil worshippers on the board. Okay, so that man turns around and he looks at me, and his eyes turn jet black, and he said, don't you ever say that again. And I looked at him, and then I realized he was one of them. So I knew, I needed to chill out, or I was going to be in deep crap, because there were very few people that would be on my side on this issue. So I quietly worked along, and one day this guy comes into the rescue mission. He was a pastor, he was a street pastor in that town, and he goes, Kim, he goes, I know you don't know me, but, I'm Pastor so-and-so, and God woke me up last night in the middle of the night, and he gave me your name, and he said that I needed to come tell you something. And I was like, what? And he said, God wants me to tell you to look up discretion, that you need to use discretion because you're in danger. So I looked it up. I knew I'd gone too far. I knew I'd talked to too many people. I didn't realize how big and how much control they had in that town. People started following me. I would be in other towns out garage selling, and town 100 miles, and there would be this motorhome following me. They were following me. Well, it wasn't too long after that God moved me out of that area, and I'm really thankful for that. And years later, I found out that hospital was totally shut down and has not been open since. So I have no idea what happened after I left, but I'm saying this because what I see happening in America reminds me of that town that I lived in that was totally controlled by those dark, demonic people, because I see it in our government. I see it in the people that have been ruling all along. And I hate to say this, but I've never voted until this time when Trump came into office. Because what I saw, I've always had discernment. I saw Obama come in and start taking Christian rights away. I saw him attacking good and bringing in evil. I saw what was in that man, letting terrorists go, tearing down our borders so that our enemies were empowered, sending money to our enemies. And as I watched the people blindly looking at him, because, yeah, America is full of racism, or they would have never put that man in office. They would have judged him by the things he was doing and not the color of his skin. I mean, we were so ready to prove that we were not racist, that we're going to put a man in there that had no Christian values and no morals, that tore down our boundaries and made us defenseless against our enemies. So yeah, this election was important to me. When I saw Trump come into office, I saw a man who had backbone, who was willing to stand up against the forces of darkness that have been in that White House for years. Those people are part of secret societies that have been at it for years. They've been oppressing and holding people down. They have token people that they allow to come in that sell their soul out to them, and they use them as tokens. Yeah, oh, this is a rich black person. Yeah, but you know what? That rich black person had to sell their soul to get there. She's one of them. You may know who I'm talking about. I really don't care. Because you know what? Enough is enough, America. Wake the frickin' up. Why do I know what time it is? Because these are the last days, because I am a Christian. I've studied the Bible for years. I know what it says about the last days. I thought, okay, Trump's in here, we have hope. I had no idea that the World Health Organization, the UN, had so much control, and as all this started to reveal itself, I'm like, look at those other countries, people. That's what they're doing to America. Those people are all those leaders are holding hands. They are the elite that are controlling the world. You think you put your politicians in there and they're on your side? They're not on your side. They have sold their soul, or they would not be alive to be in that office. Yeah, there may be a few good people, but I'm going to tell you something. They're going to be like me, crawling around quietly, not letting everybody know who they really are, or their lives are going to be in danger. And no, I'm not just paranoid. I've been a watcher all my life. And what I saw going on in that town when Satan was in the house is what I see going on in that government. And when President Trump came in here and tried to raise the standard, look at our governors. Look at these governors going after churches, trying to shut Christians down. Obama demonized the Christians. And what did we do? What have we ever done? We fed the poor. We cared about people. We loved people. Yeah, there's a lot of pastors out there that are just trying to get rich and making money and that have perverted the whole gospel. They're not really Christians. You know, there's a verse in the Bible that says they're going to be saying to him on that day, didn't I do this in your name? Didn't I cast out demons? Didn't I do that? And God is going to say, Jesus is going to say, depart from me. I never knew you. You may be surprised who goes to heaven and who doesn't go to heaven, because God doesn't look at the outward appearance. He doesn't look at, oh, she was popular in school, or oh, he's got the best car, or he gave the most money. He doesn't look at that. He looks at the heart. He judges people by the heart. And you know what, people? It's about time we start judging people by the heart, because I see Trump out there doing good things, caring about people, showing compassion. That's why the slander is coming against him. You better start looking at the people that are slandering him, calling him a racist. You know why they're calling him a racist? Because they are racist. They are racist, and he's not one of them. There have been racists in that White House for years. Really, people? Will you open your eyes and look at what's really going on? Because you know what? Who comes out? Satan roams the earth, seeking whom he can devour. He came to crush, kill, and destroy. What's going on right now? He's robbing, killing, and destroying. There are armies of them roaming the streets, hurting innocent people. Who's against law enforcement? The lawless one, the Antichrist. Read your Bible. It's all in the Bible. We knew it was coming. We're Christians. We knew it was coming. And we're sitting back going, oh my God, we're done. That's how I feel. We're done. You know what? The Antichrist has so much control right now. While we were sitting there sleeping, while we were sleeping and being complacent, watching all these evil things come in, perversion taking over the country, telling our girls that they can be boys and boys that they can be girls, that's perversion. God created man and woman, and that was perfect. He created them for a reason. And now all of a sudden we have somebody saying, oh no, you can be whatever you want to be. You can choose. You know what? God did something perfect in you. If you can't accept yourself, how can you expect other people to accept you? No amount of raising a flag or protesting is going to ever get people to accept you when you can't accept yourself. respect yourself, because you know what? You were created in his image, and we need to get back to that. Thank you.